What's going on, guys? In this video I'm going to be talking about something other than striking combinations and flow drills, and even though it's still going to be about Filipino martial arts and in the realm of Kali with a single stick, we're going to talk about a little bit of the accessory topics. And so one of the things that I stress the most, because I'm a very fundamental oriented martial artist, to make what you have better, you have to look at it in every kind of perspective and from each side, underneath and on top. And when you understand it that way, you can start to make your technique better. And so almost every system, club, school, you name it, has their own set of strikes. 10 basic strikes, 5 basic strikes. And these are kind of your guidelines that you build off of in creating your own flow and your understanding of how striking works, especially in Filipino martial arts. Now, one of the most important things involved in that are, number one, your ranges. So you can essentially use all those techniques, or majority of those techniques, but applying it depends on the distance between you and your target. And so very, very commonly, what the three ranges are referred to are long range, medium range, and close range. And we won't go too far into it, but I'm going to take my angle 1 and my angle 2, also known as an X pattern or a figure 8, and I'm going to demonstrate that in a sense of long range, medium range, and close range. But before I do that, I do want you guys to understand that in those three specific ranges, there are strikes that can only be done in those ranges. Specifically close range, you can't necessarily give your full X pattern because you're going to have to compress it in. So a lot of the close range is going to come from the puño side, it's going to be coming from the panantukan incorporated, the mano-mano, the hand checks, the sundots. All of the close range stuff are predominantly done with shorter range weapons. Okay, so when we look at our X pattern here, we have our long range, and generally you'll know it's a long range strike if you're striking your angle 1 and your angle 2 and you're giving full swings, and also you cannot touch the target in front of you. The only thing that can create contact is your stick, and that can be either stick against stick or it could be stick against the actual target, whatever it might be. And so generally what you might start to find, especially when you start incorporating long-range footwork, are a lot of lunges. You want to emphasize the reach of the stick and not keep it in kind of this neutral, upright position. Now you're going to be really lunging and launching the stick away so that you can cover as much ground as possible. When we go into medium range, and medium range is generally where majority of the techniques are done, medium range kind of looks like the standard flow that you see a lot of people train. It's this X pattern here, and I could stretch a little bit, but I wouldn't go as far as lunging out and really flailing with the stick. So this one I can really keep it kind of neutral here. One of the key points when you do this is that you should be able to touch and check your target, whether that be to manipulate the position, whether that might be for offense, to grab, so on and so forth. So from here is where a lot of the sundots happen, and this is where a lot of the entries and disarms and flow drills of that sense will take place, because medium range we can kind of interchange going from medium to long or medium to close depending on what you want to do. Now if you wanted to do a X pattern or angle 1 or an angle 2 in close range, it is still possible. I personally wouldn't do it, but it would kind of look like this, where it's very compressed. Your arm is nice and bent, but you're still letting the slash work its characteristics. You're not going to change anything about it other than the fact that you're upright and up close. And personally, I would say that if you were to even do a strike of this nature, this is going to be kind of a hybrid between close to medium. It wouldn't necessarily be like, there's no real definition of close and no real definition of medium and no real definition of long. The only thing you can really try to do is categorize certain things about your strikes or about your movement that would go along with that kind of distance. Okay, so between your long, medium, and close, you want to be able to interchange, like I said, going from close to medium, medium to long, long to medium, medium to close. And that way you can have the most variety when you are striking, even if you only have 2 to 6 basic strikes in your arsenal. Now you can use your footwork and use things outside of the strike, but they still help the strike perform and really, really amplify and improve your basics. Now, the thing that I really wanted to touch base more so on are the levels. And inside the levels, you can even think about the levels inside that. And there's this whole massive labyrinth that I kind of teach my students to be able to become marksmen with their weapons. But in general, we have 3 ranges and we also have 3 levels. So we have a high line, we have a medium line, and then we have a low line. So the high line is generally head strikes here. Okay, medium would be around what we call the floating ribs, and the floating ribs would allow you to strike majority of the body. Also, it depends on your target, but we're going to reference off of ourselves for the sake of solo training. Now, the low line, the final line, is around the knee level. And generally when I strike that, I would take a knee myself or I would bend my legs to strike the low line here. So a very simple drill you guys can try at home is that I'm going to take my side to side. It could be any strike, X pattern, side to side, reverse X. But I'm going to flow from high line to medium to low line and back up. And when I do this, I want to be focusing on following the same line and not letting it drift off. So I go high to mid to low. From low to mid to high. Once I have that, then I can consciously choose if I want to go from high to mid to low to mid to high. What I don't want is for that kind of transition to happen because I don't have control over my weapon, nor do I have control over my body. It's kind of just like a reaction. I want to be able to be in complete control, kind of have like this conscious feeling that I know exactly where I'm targeting. And if you guys feel good about that, think about a high, medium, and low inside your high line, inside your mid line, and inside your low line, right? So if I was in a low line and I use the side to side, I can go way down, then kind of neutral and a little higher for the head area, but I'm in the low line sector. So combining your high line, mid line, low line, as well as your long range, your medium range, your close range, gives you that diversity, and you don't need, all the tarapilones or the abanico, or you don't need all of that. It is very good to have, and it's a way that you can express it and research the art further. But when it comes to an angle 1, an angle 2, maybe a vertical strike, maybe a horizontal strike, things that are very basic, linear strikes that you learned probably in your first lesson of FMA, you can take that, look at it from the other side, see how you can make it better, see how you can apply it in different situations, and that's going to help you understand how you can make yourself better on your own without having to go through flow drills and disarm counts and all of those great things. So if you guys did enjoy this and you guys are able to use this in your solo training, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Comment below if you guys have anything else you want me to show you. Until next time, catch you guys then.